Welcome to part 3 of my first ever oil painting. So if you saw the first 2 parts, you'll know it's a Route 66 themed kind of abstract doodle art. And I wanted to add some cool trippy aspects. So I did this little sea creature, and I'm still working on brightening up the eye. I want the eye in both the little sea creature and this cactus to be very bright, and I don't want it to be blended. So I'm just putting some white on first, and then I'll probably wait a few days to go and make sure it's dry before I put the last layer of white on. Now I'm just doing some background colors and making sure that it doesn't clash. I have this little motel, old kind of Western building right there with a similar color. So I want to make sure I'm using the cactus as a little barrier for that. So I'm going to have a different color separate it. But for now, just going in and making sure all the little areas that are white with the canvas underneath are colored. And now I'm going in and separating this part for where I'm going to put the next color. I'm trying to be really smart with the colors that I choose, not only just not having 2 colors that are the same beside each other, but making sure that colors that I am picking aren't either too bright for way too many in a row, and if they are, at least making sure they go well. Now I'm going to add some little doodles and designs in these colors, so that'll help break it up if there are too many bright colors beside each other. But for now, I'm just putting in this pink. Thought it looks good, and it's a far enough distance away from the pink in the bottom left corner that it'll work. So just doing that now. The cactus and most of the other areas were dry enough that I wasn't getting any blending. I find that the black paint was the hardest to dry because usually that's where I have a outline and I go pretty thick with it. And sometimes with these lighter colors, when I'm painting it in, it'll blend. It's not the end of the world. I'll probably go back and do some touch-ups near the end, but just want to make sure that it doesn't blend too much into the brush, that the other parts of it are darker than I want it to be. I'm also going back to this little ladder and coloring it in with pink, and I also wanted to brighten up the green sign that I had, so adding a little layer of the other green just to make sure it's wet enough. I'm doing the opposite. Instead of waiting for it to dry, I'm making sure it's wet so it spreads in a little bit, and added a green with a little bit of white that I mixed into it just to make it a little brighter. I wanted it to pop against the sky. So I really like this color. It's kind of a cool mint green. I might use that as some other parts within the painting, but for now I'm just painting that over. It looks good. It covers nicely. Then going back to this ladder, picking the right colors. It's tough because I don't know what that background color is going to be yet, so I have to be smart in choosing that with the colors that are already in the ladder. When I have a little bit of yellow out, I always like to go back to these little mountain areas and do that. I do want to add some more detail within it, so I want to get it all colored first before I do that, just so the little details that I have won't blend into the black outline. I'm not really quite sure what I want to do with this little kind of like a halo on top of the clown, but for now I'm just layering in some colors. But I thought a dark red would look good, especially with the pink and the yellow. So like I said, I'm going to add some other probably colors within it or little designs or aspects, but I just wanted to get these background colors planned out and just making sure that's all filled in before I do any of those other details. For some of the darker parts of the painting, I feel like I'll do the more planned out aspects potentially in gray or white, just so it pops out. Sometimes I've done it where I have a themed aspect that I wanted in the painting and I'll do it dark, or then the background colors work out that they're dark. And either I have to go in with a white background line kind of thing to make it stand out, or sometimes it gets a little bit lost. But here's how it's looking now. I really like it. Same thing I'm doing with when I had yellow on the paintbrush, going in, adding a little bit of red to this little mountain area. And after this, I'm gonna leave it for a few days just to make sure it is dried to the point where I want it to be for adding the details. But it looks cool so far. I do like the bright colors in it. I find it pops out nicely. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to add a UFO. So I'm adding a cool little UFO at the top. I might add another thing to this sky to make it more interesting to look at, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to add that, maybe give it that Area 51 kind of desert feel as well. And it goes well with the other aspects that I have, like the creepy clown, some of the other space stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. I thought it'd be cool to have these little lines coming from the UFO, and the yellow goes well with the pink and the blue. So I did that. I might go and add a little bit more later. I think a lot of this painting, none of the details are going to be fully done until I'm done the painting. A lot of times with my other ones, I will go back and do little final details, but most of the time I'm about 95% done a aspect or detail just because the acrylic paint dries so much faster. But since it is oil, I have to get used to being patient coming back. So now I'm just doing lines of this trailer, making sure it pops out nicely. I haven't touched this part of the painting for a few days, so it gave it some time to dry so I can do it without the paint smudging or blending too much. And now I wanted to add like a little brick texture to this upside down house. So I'm doing that. I'm not going to color in the bricks or anything. I'm just doing a little texture or then adding a door. Just kind of wanted to add something more than just the red. Also for this video, I'm going to make it a shorter part. So let me know how you like this part being under 10 minutes. I'm kind of trying out all durations of videos right now. I have a few videos like this that are 40 minutes long. I have some that are 20, and this will be a shorter one. So I'd love to hear if you like the duration of this video or what kind of length of videos you like. I also do time-lapse videos. Sometimes those are shorter, kind of around 10 or 15 minutes, but yeah, let me know what you like. So I'm going in and doing more lines right now because for this one, I am leaving it to dry for a little bit. So I wanted to make sure all the black lines that I'm going to be coloring in soon were done. So when I go to color some areas and add details around it, it won't blend where I don't want it to. I'll put the painting up for a few days, let it dry. That's why I do like scheduling out videos, because I can do that, work on another piece and then come back to it, but still put out the parts of the videos 1 or 2 days after each other. I decided to go with this yellow color for the clown. Thought it was kind of cool and it went well, especially with the black in it. I'll probably add a little more colors and textures within the face. And now I'm just finishing up this little bus car outline. So that's the last thing I'm doing for this part. It's tough to tell how much is done. I know a lot of the painting is covered, but I'd say I'm about halfway done with the amount of details and aspects to bring the Route 66 theme.